Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about web database programming using PHP. In this chapter, we'll talk about a simple PHP example, and a simple PHP example is we are talking about that because we are going to need that for the second part of our homework too. All right. Now, we'll talk about, this chapter will talk about the basic feature of PHP and just a simple example overview how we can write a simple PHP program as a PHP database program. So now PHP has some techniques for programming and it has some dynamic feature into the web programming. So what is PHP? PHP is an open source scripting language. All right. So it has an interpreter. Interpreters means actually PHP is a scripting language. Okay. So scripting language means actually it can run line by line of PHP language. Okay. So whenever there is a scripting language, so there is an interpreter. So the PHP interpreter is open source, so it's free of charge, and it's available on most computer platform. So in our course, we're using XAMPP software. Okay, so XAMPP software actually it's a package which comes with like MySQL, Apache, and both PHP. So if you already have the XAMPP software, it's a good news that you don't have to think about how to install PHP. Okay, so PHP is already there. All right. So a simple PHP example, we'll talk about that. We're going to see a simple example and how you can use PHP for database programming. Okay, so you can write a simple web application. Means this web application is going to connect with PHP, and at the bottom layer, it will be connected with database. All right. All right. So it's a open source general purpose scripting language, and it comes installed with the Unix operating system. It's a open source. That's why if any one of you have Unix operating system, all right, Unix or Linux based operating system, so PHP actually comes with that operating system. All right, a simple PHP example means like if we think about a simple web application. Okay, let's say we're thinking about a simple web application, and in a web application we have a web page. Okay, the front page. So the front page is actually a collection of some HTML language. Okay, so there can be some text box, there can be some button. All right, there can be some link. All right, so these are a collection of some HTML language. All right, so let me show you. If we go to our web page of UC Denver. Okay, so I'm trying to log into our UC Denver, so you can see that I have this page. And what are these are actually some front page. There we have some image, some text. All right, and there I have a text box. All right, so so it's like a simple form. Okay, I'm having some input, so it is going to take some input from me, the username and password, and then I have a button. All right, so what happens? So this is the front page. All right, so this is the front page. This is giving us some graphical instrument. Okay, now after I fill up this information like username and password, now if you click here, okay, so if you click here, something will happen. So what happens if we click here? It is going to connect with a server-side programming language. Okay, so this is our front page. So after you fill up this form and there are some information, maybe this is looking for some information from the user. Then after you press submit, this will go to another layer where we have a server-side program. Okay. Now this server-side program is going to check by taking all the information from the user. So let's say you are giving your username and password. Okay. Now, after you click submit, this will submit all the information to the server-side program. Okay. So this program is going to check whether this username and password is correct or not. If it is correct, it will let you to enter to the web page, and this will let you to continue to the website. Okay. Now, this server-side program means you can see that here in this backend, there is going to be a program that will do all this work. Okay, that will take the username and password. Now, where are this username password is located? So these username, password, and all the information you can think about, like if we think about our university database, there are a lot of users. Okay, now obviously we should have a database, so where we are storing all the username and password. Okay, now this server-side program is going to, when it finds this request, this server-side program has this information of this username and password. So let's say my username is Devnatem and password is something like that. Okay, and it will take this value. It is going to have some program, and using this program it will connect with our database. Okay, and in this database it is going to actually run a query. It is going to run a query to check that whether this username this username and password exist in this database or not. So now you can see the connection. So this is the front page. Now if front page needs a program, okay, if it needs a backend program, it will be connected with a server-side backend program. Okay, and this backend program is going to be connected with the database if it needs some information from the database. All right, and this program is going to actually run a query. All right, if it finds the result, expected result, that means it will know that all right, this user and password, this user is valid, so it is going to give the result to the front end. All right, so here what do we need? You can see that this is the HTML, our client tier. This is the middle tier, web server PHP. Okay, in this example we are showing you how to write a simple web-based application using PHP. Okay, and at the bottom tier we are going to have the database. All right, and you can see that database will be connected only this server-side program. All right, so the front page is not connected with the database. Front page will connect to the server-side program. Server-side will connect with database. Database will give the result back to the middle tier, means the server-side program, and it will give the result to the front page. Okay. All right, so now you know that when we try to log into a web page, we give some information. All right, or in any other web application, we give some information, we click a button, and that gives us some result. So at the back end, actually, we have these two other layer. Okay, so in this layer, we're going to have this web server program. All right, and this web server program will connect to database so that it can fetch the result. Okay, so we are familiar with how to write a database query. Okay, so far we are familiar with this side. Okay, now we are going to actually just look at few simple things. How can we write a simple PHP program? Okay, and in the front page, actually there are a lot of HTML tag. We can create, like using some tag, we can create some button, some text box, and some form, simple form. All right, some link. All right, now here let's see just a simple PHP program, how that looks like. So here you can see that this is giving us here this is a simple program, and from that program it is giving us a initial form of displayed by PHP program segment. Okay, now here this PHP what it is doing. Okay, we'll talk about this post, and it will take a value username. If this is true, it will print welcome, and it will print the username. So this is like a form. Let's say you click submit name. Now after you click submit name, this will call this PHP program. Okay, so what it is checking, it is checking the username. All right, so and it will, if the username exists, all right, if it will print the welcome message. All right, so welcome the username. So here here this is the first step. You enter John Smith. All right, after you click submit, it is going to print welcome John Smith. So here a segment of PHP, you can see that a simple PHP start with this tag, okay, and end with this tag. Okay, so we start PHP like this. Okay, we write the PHP program here, and it ends with like this. So a comment can look like this. This is a single line comment, and this is a multi-line comment in PHP. So what is a post? So any variable in PHP actually start with this symbol, okay, this dollar symbol. So underscore post. So this one is a auto global predefined PHP variable, okay, and it's actually an array. So that will hold all the values entered through the form parameter. So let's say in your page you have just one input, okay, one text here. You can enter one text here, and you can click the submit. Okay, let's see, you have a page here. Let's see, name, ID, and let's see measure. So now you have three input box. All right, you have three text input, and after that you can click submit button. Okay, now after you click submit button, what we're doing here, after we're clicking submit button, we are actually sending all the information to our PHP program. Okay, and how we are going to send all this information to our PHP program? So all the information will be actually caught by the PHP program using a predefined global array name as post. Okay, so this post is a global array which is going to catch all the information from this front page. Okay, for example, here we have three text input box. All right, so this post, the post variable is going to catch these three input in one array. Okay, so the post will have all the information in one array. All right, so these three information will be in this post array. All right, so post is the array that will hold all the values entered through the form parameter. So in your form, you can have text input, you can have radio button, or you can have a link or text box, like text box or checkbox, anything that's considered as the input. All right, you can send that. You can send from the front page to the PHP program by using this post variable. Okay, post array variable. All right, now all the PHP variables start with this dollar symbol. All right, so post is also a variable, but that's a array variable. Okay, now let me tell you how does array looks like. PHP array. Okay, I'll come back, I'll go back again here, but let me talk about PHP array. So PHP array can be two type, numeric and associative. Okay, and think about that. when we're talking about database query result. So let's say I'm writing a query, something like that, select something, select star from company. Okay, so this is a query, and after I run this query, obviously this will connect to the database, and this is going to return, I mean the database going to return a set of record. Okay, and how does the database records look like? It looks like a table, right? So database query looks like a table, means actually they are two-dimensional array. All right, so they look like a table like this. So there is going to be some row, there can be some column. So all database query is going to return like a two-dimensional array. So the first dimension will represent the row of table, okay, row of table, and second dimension will represent the column. All right. Now, PHP array are two types, numeric and associative. So numeric array are regular two-dimensional array, for example, like this, where index start from 0, 1, 2. Okay, so index start from 0. Okay, so these are the row and these are the column. So in both side, in row side or column side, index starts from 0. Okay, and then they grow incrementally. Now associative array means actually they provides a pair of key value element. So let's see how a associative array looks like in PHP. So in PHP, every variable start with dollar symbol. Let's see this one, name of a variable, and we're saying that this variable teaching is an array. So we can declare an array using array keyword. Okay, so now this one is an array where this is a associative array. So database is a key and the value of the database is Smith. So here OS is a key and value of OS is Carrick, and graphics is a key, value is Cam. So this one is an example of associative array. So associative array means it's a combination of key value pair. All right. And here you can add more value, all right, using key. So in this teaching, you have only like three key and three value. Now you can add one more key with value, or you can also update the value of a existing key. All right. Now these are some predefined function like sort. You can sort an array, and this is the for loop, and you are going to actually need that because for any array, how do we traverse the array? We are going to need a loop, right? So this is a simple for loop, like for each, it's a keyword. We can run a for loop we can run through, traverse each item of the array by key. So teaching as key value, all right, we can print like key and value. All right, so teaching is the name of the array and we are traversing as a key to value. Okay, so this is a simple for loop by which we can traverse an associative array. All right, so this is an example of another array. So these all are example of one-dimensional array. You can see that. So this is an example of, sorry, this one, let me tell you, this one is an example of numeric array. Okay, this is an example of numeric array. You can see that here database, OS, graphics, data mining, and here index will be like 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to run a for loop to this array, it is going to look like this. For I, this is a variable, so start with dollar, I to 0. Num is another variable. Okay, num is something, count courses. You can use the count function to count the number of items in an array. So until I is less than num, I plus plus. So this looks like a regular for loop. Looks like a regular for loop in other programming language. Okay. All right. So we're going to need PHP array because when you are going to fetch the result from the database, the result will always come in a form of array. Okay. All right. So let's go back again in the discussion of PHP variable. So PHP variable start with this dollar symbol. Now variable name can include character, letter, underscore character. Okay. Now how we can represent string and text? We can represent them as a single quoted, double quoted, using some document, here document, or single double quote. Okay, or combination of single double quote. So we can concatenate string using period. Okay, like one string dot another string is going to concatenate these two strings. So single quoted string, they are literal strings that contain no PHP program, but a double quoted string and here documents, they can come, they can be the value from variables and need to be interpolated into a string. All right. So data type can be numeric data type, so integer or floating points. Okay. Now programming language construct, we can have for loop, we have while loop, and it has also regular conditional if else statement, also Boolean expression. So it has comparison operator. Comparison operator looks like regular programming syntax. For example, it is going to check whether two numbers or two values are equal. This is for not equal, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay. So PHP has also function. Using function, we can define to structure a complex program, and we can share common section of code. Okay, so let's look at an example how to write a function in PHP. So function start with this keyword function, then the name of the function, and we can have parameter for the function. Okay, so we can have parameter for the function, but here we do not have any parameter. Okay, and let's see, this function is a simple function which just print welcome, and it prints the value of the username. Here you can see that username is actually key of the array of post. Okay, so here it's something actually post. So post has a array where username is a keyword. All right, and username has a value. Obviously, let's say the value is just a name. Okay, so here it is going to print the value of username. Okay, now another function, display empty form. All right, so all right, so using that, you can actually using the PHP program, you can actually print a HTML page. You can send a HTML page, or you can print a HTML page directly, okay, by writing a PHP program. For example, like you are getting some information here, and using those information, you want to generate a web page using the HTML tag and everything. So what you can do, you can now all the HTML tag, they are actually a whole large string. So what you can do, you can generate a whole large string for a web page, and you can also print that. Okay, so for this print, we are going to use this symbol. Okay, and then using this tag inside this HTML start tag and end tag, you can actually write all the HTML tag inside that. So the same, you can see that the same thing is going to be printed in the web page. Okay, after this function will be executed, this is going to print the whole HTML page in the web page. So there is a form. All right, so there will be a form, and in this form there will be a input text box. So this HTML tag is going to print a input text box. Okay, all right, and for that it will have a name like username. So whenever we're going to we need a name for each input type, because you give some information, this information will be the value of this variable. Okay, now this one looks like a submit type. Submit type means it will be printed like in the page as a submit button. Submit means whenever you are going to click that, it is going to be submitted and it will send a request. Okay, it will send a request to the PHP program. All right, now here is the code that will be generated after you submit. Okay, after you submit, you can actually hold all the information, you can catch all the information using this post global array. Now post has this only one keyword, post has only one key username. So the value that you are entering here will be caught as the value of this key. All right, so you can catch that and you can call the function welcome, display welcome, and it is going to print the name of the username. Okay, so this is actually the same thing we're doing in our last example that we show here. Okay, all right, so let's see. So this is another function which is taking two parameters, so course and teaching assignment. Okay, so you can see that what we are doing, if the array has key with course and teaching assignment, okay, it will get this information. Instructor will be the teaching assignment of course, okay, and it is going to do something. Okay, so that's how actually we can write a function. I mean, function start with this keyword, the name of the function, and the list of parameter. Okay, so there are some built-in entry. So post is one built-in global array variable. All right, and server is another auto global built-in array variable, and it provides the useful information about the server. Okay, about the server where the PHP interpreter is running. So where your PHP is located, the information of the server, you can actually find this using this server array. And these are the key of this array, and you can find the value of this key using this name of the key. All right. All right, so in the next segment, I'm going to actually show you just an example how we can write how we can actually run a simple PHP program using our XAMPP software. All right, we'll see you next segment.